This particular vest was the first item that I selected from the collection to represent our 7 educational short films. And the reason why I selected this particular item is very subjective, and I'd like to share it with you. I feel that in order for us to properly pay tribute to our own communities and to things that we toss around all the time, we say words like family and clan. This is putting my money where my mouth is. This has had Hank touch it.
Really?
Yeah. My mentor. The man who trained me in bootblacking. He's worked on this. Keeping it in the family, so to speak, we're paying tribute and preserving with our personal touch. People that came before us, people that are part of our own lineage. Motorcycleman of New Mexico.
Yeah.
Who is this? Dick, the founder of Motorcycleman.
Wow.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, look at that.
Immediately when I saw this vest, of course I got very weepy and was filled with emotion, and I knew I had to make a contribution to Dick and to the Motorcyclemen and to all that they had given to me. I honored him, and I honored the Motorcyclemen of New Mexico, and I will approach every article of leather in this building for years to come with the same approach. Historically speaking, this is a treasure. I mainly see just some dry issues and some discoloration from some pins that were removed for whatever reason. This vest also is interesting because it doesn't look like it's in bad shape right now, and it's not in bad shape. But it's right at the apex of a turning point. I'm looking under here to see if I see any metal corrosion or lime deposits, or because I'm dealing with a whole slew of different kinds of metals, many which I don't know what their composites are. These appear to be mostly, like standard campaign button style. Those have a tendency, at least the pin does, of collecting rust, and I want to know beforehand if any of that's going on. So far, so good. No rust at all. But frankly, I wouldn't have expected that. New Mexico, that's good. New Mexico's a dry sucker. This is just alcohol and wintergreen. It's a non-drying kind of opens pores. It also kills dust spores, dust mites. It kills most molds. It's not even especially dirty under there. I made the decision to not remove pins from this vest. And the reason being, I can access all of the leather behind it. But I'm gonna do the best I can to work around them, because I think in this instance, pulling pins out that are who knows how old exactly, it could cause some problems with trying to put them back in the correct spot. Right here, there's a little blemish of, looks like a glue that did not come off with just plain alcohol. I am gonna guess that that is some kind of an adhesive or a glue. There's another small swatch of it right here, and another one up here. And since I don't know what that adhesive was made of, I need to be concerned about that for the long term. So I'm gonna try and get that off a little more aggressively. And when it comes to doing stuff like this, you work your way up to the most aggressive. Here's another example of something that I'm not going to touch. I don't know what this item is, this little droplet. And here, looks like maybe, I don't know, food, soda. But that's kind of a personal thing. I'm gonna leave it because I don't know. And I would just as soon that stay. It's probably something that's not gonna work against the pin itself.
So you don't have to clean the tops of the pins?
I'm not going to do that. That to me is not preservation. If this was tarnished such that I couldn't see, or I couldn't read it, then yeah, I would consider doing that to a minimal. I'm about to start applying this is a Smithsonian prescribed concoction of, essentially it's glycerol. Kind of miraculous stuff, but it stinks and it looks gross. I'm gonna begin a little bit with some of my preservative. The areas that this vest has to bear weight, these are the areas of most concern. Any place that's being stressed by the weight of the vest, points where it's already dried, or reaching a dry rot status, any of those places are kind of concerning. Also concerning would be slight cracks here, in particular this one. This one is very concerning to me because of its placement. Typically you'd see a lot more from Arizona, New Mexico, some parts of Texas. You will very often see dry rot, unfortunately. And this vest, really no evidence of it going in that direction yet. Not yet. This side has a little bit of discoloration. I don't know what that is. So I'm not even gonna try and get that out. I can say that if I saw the presence of marks like this anywhere else, I would suspect that it was some type of a white mold. But I'm gonna estimate, just my judgment is that it's probably an imperfection on the leather.
What about where the texture is a little bit different?
Right here?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is either. It looks to me like something that existed, an imperfection on the hide of the animal. Could have been where a clamp was put on the giant sheet of leather in the tanning process, where the teeth of the clamp imprinted and not enough of the tanning solvents and fluids got into the leather. That would be my estimate, but you know, a lot of times we're just never gonna know. This stuff, incidentally, doesn't harm other metals, ferrous materials. The only thing that it would bother over a long period of time, it might slightly discolor like a ribbon. So when I get down closer to some of these other points that do have a fabric substance, I'm gonna be careful. I'm placing that barrier in between it so that it doesn't give any more scratches to his name placard.
And will you always keep that wrapped like that,
No.
or is that just temporary?
No, this is just temporary. I don't want the fabric to absorb any of the triglyceride. The reason I'm putting some of it on the internal like cut flaps, because that's part of the vest. It'd all for naught be if you preserved the rest of the vest and then you left this alone and this got dry rotted and the vest fell apart from the inside out. What's the point, right? I'm gonna let all of this sit for a few minutes. This is not a shoe brush that I use on any boots or anything. This is a brush that I exclusively use for this process.
What does the brush do?
This removes any dust or anything that's sitting on the surface that I don't want to stay stuck on the vest. It's really the best way, unless you want to use compressed air.
Now, if you were doing this and we had a conservation program already in place at LA&M, would you be wearing gloves at this point?
Yes. I would when I went to the hanging up phase, or to mounting. The only purpose of wearing gloves in a museum context is, number one, when your handling can do damage of any kind to the artifact through bodily oils, through your fingernails, something that's very fragile. So the possibility of causing damage to the artifact or to the item. And the other instance that you would wear gloves is if that item could potentially cause you damage.